Hey, it's your old moldy pal, Avian and Loaded, and this is Action Figure Obsession, episode, who knows. Um, I wanted to talk about one of the best pieces of action figure collecting advice that I ever developed and have utilized myself ever since I realized it. I've talked before about how I have a number of Fortnite figures in my action figure collection. I've got about 1,000, mostly 6 inch, maybe about 40 or 57 inch scale figures, but mostly 6 inch. Um, and mostly Hasbro Marvel Legends and Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified series. And again, other figures from Mafex and Mezco. And I always forget. Jazzwares, of course, because we're talking about Fortnite. Jazzwares produced some of the Fortnite figures that I have, and other manufacturers of 6 inch action figures. I have the Star Wars Black Series, that's Hasbro too. I have a few of those. But mostly, it's Marvel Legends and my G.I. Joes over across the room. But one of the things, if you're looking to introduce novelty and diversity into your collection, if you're willing to use some imagination, which I have not always been the best at, the years that I spent in commercial copywriting really helped me to expand my consciousness and my imagination without having to smoke or drink anything really other than caffeine, which I drank. I didn't smoke the caffeine. Nobody ever offered me a caffeine joint, honestly. But anyway, exercise a little imagination. I find that action figure collectors sometimes lack imagination. There are some very passionate people on Reddit and other forums who collect action figures and yet kind of miss the boat on some things. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about on this topic, and maybe this will be the only video ever about this topic, but it's just a little advice to beginning to intermediate level sort of collectors. When you find an action figure outlet, a place to get figures that are still new in the box, but are super, super dirt cheap, like Ollie's and Ross Dress for Less, and occasionally Five Below. You will find anywhere you can find them that they're on discount, and even the clearance aisles at Target and Walmart, or just check the clearance tags at Target and Walmart because they don't always put them in a dedicated clearance section. Most Walmarts have a dedicated clearance aisle, but they don't call a lot of attention to it for some strange reason. And I always, when I'm in a Walmart, will march up and down that aisle a couple of times looking very carefully, because sometimes you'll only find one or two action figures at all in their clearance aisle, and sometimes it won't even be on clearance price. The way that Walmart works is sometimes if a figure shows up, gets delivered to their store, and they don't have a place on it on the planogram, and the planogram is the sort of blueprints for the toy aisle for that quarter or that month or whatever sort of time span they're working with. But the planogram tells them if they get, for example, a Hasbro Marvel Legends Scarlet Spider, it goes on this particular hook in this particular aisle, and it doesn't go anywhere else, and that's where it should be. And then, at the end of the day, sometimes somebody will leave it on a shelf somewhere. They'll leave it in the the carpeting section, or they'll leave it next to a milk jug in the refrigerator section. Either because they're trying to hide it and come back for it later, or because they changed their mind and they're just too lazy to take it back. And we've all been guilty of that. God knows I have. But you will occasionally find clearance priced figures in the clearance aisle at Target or Walmart. And you will always, in my experience, find some clearance priced action figures at Ross and Ollie's. Ross seems to be on the rise now in terms of the quality of the unwanted, unloved, full-price figures that they're getting, Marvel Legends and G.I. Joe Classified, etc., McFarlane, DC Multiverse, things like that. But there's cycles. It goes up and down for a while. For a good 2 or 3 years, Ollie's was the place to go, and you could check their 2 or 3 times a week, and there was always going to be some new failed Marvel Legends figure that would pop up there. Sometimes entire waves, like the Eternals. Sometimes just one or two, like the retro Invisible Woman from the Fantastic Four retro wave. You never know. There is a YouTuber who talks about action figures who says, if you don't go, you don't know, or you got to know if you don't go, I don't know, something like that. But anyway, if you don't look, you know, you don't know what they have. And if you have the time and you have, you know, $5 plus tax burning a hole in your pocket, or $10 plus tax burning a hole in your pocket, sometimes you can find good stuff. Now, here we have 3 figures from the Indiana Jones Adventure series, one of 2 or 3 or 4 lines that Hasbro has utterly botched in this decade. The starting lineup line of way overpriced $50 NBA figures failed. Those all went to Ollie's and Ross. I actually found them at Ollie's and Ross. Original retail $50. Ollie's and Ross blowout price, I think, was $5.99, $6.99. And I got 3 of those just to see what the quality of the figures were. They were spectacular. They just weren't worth $50, and they still aren't. If they had sold those for $20 or $25, I'd imagine Hasbro's starting lineup line would still be going strong. But I don't know, you know, what their licensing fees were and everything that they had to do with the NBA. Somebody got them convinced that they were going to make money on that line. And man, it was a colossal failure, as was what you see in front of you, the Indiana Jones Adventure series. Which I just think that, and I love Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first Indiana Jones movie. I just love it. I could watch it anytime. I absolutely adore that film from beginning to end. You know, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, kind of scratches an itch for me with adventure fiction that almost no other movie can do, and I've probably watched it 100 times. And when I'm watching it, I can just recite the dialogue along with it. Kill you, I've done far worse than kill you, Captain. I've hurt you, and I wish to go on hurting you. I shall leave her. So I've screwed it up already, a couple times, I think. But anyway, that was Khan, you know, ranting at Captain Kirk, ending, of course, with William Shatner going, Khan! The greatest moment in Star Trek history, right? Certainly the greatest moment in Shatner history. Well, maybe Rocket Man, but that's, you know, Google William Shatner and Rocket Man if you haven't seen that video. But my point is, I love Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I don't love and I love Harrison Ford. I had tears streaming down my face at his recent Lifetime Achievement Award acceptance speech. My God, he's so lovable and so manly and so real. Holy crap. I never, you know, and I watched Star Wars and I watched all the Indiana Jones movies. What else did I see Harrison Ford? The spy movies, you know, the ones. I can't even think of what his character's name was now, but Jim from The Office ended up playing the same character. You know who I'm talking about. If you do, you're probably yelling at the screen by now. But I didn't buy every figure of the Indiana Jones Adventure series at retail. In fact, I'm not sure I bought any of them for full retail price, which I believe was $25 each. And here's why. I'll give you the reasons. It's more than one reason why. I think I might have bought one Indiana Jones from Raiders of the Lost Ark at full price with the leather jacket and the coat and the hat and the whip and throw me the idol, I'll throw you the whip, blah-de-blah-de-blah. I think I might have bought the first Indiana Jones figure they released at full retail, now that I think about it. I probably paid $25 for that. And then I immediately, you know, put it next to a Marvel Legend because I wanted Indiana Jones to hang out with my Marvel Legends. And they're not in scale with each other. They're not in scale with each other at all. They're just not. And that was really disappointing. And that may be just a me thing. I don't know. Maybe you go line by line and you have all your figures displayed on separate shelves. So you have an Indiana Jones shelf and a Star Wars Black Series shelf and a Marvel Legends shelf and a DC Multiverse shelf. And all the scale that you care about is the internal logic of that particular shelf or that particular display. For me, I like all my stuff to be able to go together, which is why, you know, and I did a whole video about, in fact, I've done 2 videos, I think, about DC Multiverse and McFarlane with his line of 7-inch toys. That was a real stretch for me to get invested in that line at all, because I like all my figures to interact with my Marvel Legends and my G.I. Joe Classified, because they're all pretty much the same scale. And I just think it's really cool to have Indiana Jones be able to meet Captain America. You know, I could have used my World War II Captain America here. And obviously, Indiana Jones is going to be a little shorter than Captain America with the super soldier serum. There's no doubt about that. But he's a little too short, especially that the one with the leather jacket that I should have gotten out for this example. But if there's one thing that I'm really good at, it's forgetting to drag things out of the display when I'm probably going to be talking about them in another 5 or 10 minutes. So the scale for these was wrong for me, and that put me off of fully going all in on the line. I had the Indiana Jones. At that time, I didn't know Mezco was going to do an Indiana Jones, which I did buy. That was a $150 set. And it's beautiful. And that Indiana Jones is incredible. And he comes with the idol and the pedestal the idol goes on, and the spiders, they climb all over his coat. And holy cow, it's just packed with accessories. $150, I don't know really if it was worth it. But at the time, I had a job and money and just a lust for little 6-inch plastic people. And now all I have is the last one there. So I didn't really dive deep into the Indiana Jones Adventure series, especially when it was at full retail, after getting that initial figure and being disappointed by the scale. I was not disappointed by the sculpt or the paint. I thought it was very impressive. It reminded me more than it looked like Harrison Ford from the movie screen. The initial Raiders of the Lost Ark Indiana Jones reminded me of the Indiana Jones that John Byrne drew when he was drawing an Indiana Jones comic book for Marvel Comics. It actually was kind of funny. I wondered, and still to this day wonder, if maybe Byrne's depiction of Indiana Jones may have at least partially inspired that figure, but I don't know. Maybe they were both inspired by the same studio images that were provided to them. I don't know, but that figure kind of had a John Byrne looking face to it, you know. And if you're a comic book fan and you know any John Byrne comics, you take a look at that Indiana Jones Adventure series, the Raiders of the Lost Ark Indiana Jones with his leather jacket and his hat. You tell me that doesn't look like John Byrne's Indiana Jones. So how did I end up with these guys? Well, the line failed really quickly. Really, really quickly. There were very few of them that were sought after. That first Indiana Jones with a leather jacket was sought after. He was hard to find. I did eventually find a second one in a discount shop for like $15. So I did buy an extra one of that, which I think I later sold or traded in a mini purge, which was probably a mistake, but there's one thing I'm good at, it's making mistakes, right? I'm trying to think what else would I have paid full retail from that line, and I don't know, maybe Belloc. I have Belloc, you know, the guy whose face melts at the end of Raiders. I have him, and you know, he even comes with the melty face, the swappable head, which I've never used because, you know, I hate accessories that depict just 1 second in time of, you know, whatever. So I just have him as my Belloc with his overcoat and his snide Nazi face. But I do have these guys because I bought them all on clearance. I got them all for, you know, I think no more than $9.99 plus tax each. And I didn't get them because they were Indiana Jones characters, or figures. I got them because this gave me, and the first Indiana Jones did not give me, an unhatted, you know, plain head Harrison Ford. This one does. And I have used this figure, or this face rather, this head, on some Marvel Legends, on the Everett Ross body for like the president from that movie where he was the president, Air Force One. Yep, that's what it was called. It's a cool Harrison Ford likeness. Harrison Ford is one of those actors that's very hard to, there, does that look like Harrison Ford? Not a lot. And then you turn it, kind of right there. And then, you know, bingo bango, you know, you just hit the right angle and you're like, oh yeah, it's definitely Harrison Ford. Did I call him Harrison Jones? That's entirely possible. So I bought this figure for $10 plus tax, $9.99 plus tax, basically for the Harrison Ford head. And I have reassembled all these guys on there. 5 minutes ago, all these guys were on different bodies, all these heads. I was doing something else with them, but I wanted to talk about my little tip, which is when you find figures on clearance, like at Ross, like at Ollie's, like at Walmart or Target or any place else you find action figures on clearance, if they're dirt cheap, if they're basically the price of a cold soda at the checkout at the supermarket, because I know all of you are buying cold soda at the supermarket checkout. You're very thirsty and constantly checking to see which one is the coldest one in the cooler. But like $3, $5, $10. What is money anymore? Am I right? Hellscape economy. But I bought all these guys just for the heads, because this is Harrison Ford. This could be Han Solo. This could be his president character, whose name I forget. This could be a young Thaddeus Ross from the MCU. They go back in time and they try to, tell Thaddeus Ross, don't be a dick. Don't be a Red Hulk, And again, just the heads. Mads Mikkelsen. It's fucking Hannibal Lecter, man. You saw Hannibal, right? That show? Oh my God, he was so good in that show. And the glasses are removable. The hat, unfortunately, is not, bad choice, Hasbro, but what can you do? And I got, okay, so it's, Sir Sean Connery. It is Henry Jones Sr., Dr. Henry Jones Sr., Indiana Jones's dad. Or is it? Because luckily, his hat comes off. And his glasses come off. Come on. Did it with knocking him over. That's pretty cool. It's Sean Connery. It's Sir Sean Connery. Hello. What's going on? It's my Sean Connery impression, everybody. So for $10, I got a Sean Connery head, which may someday go on another figure, and which, actually 10 minutes ago was on this figure, 15 minutes ago. But look at what's in the box when you find him cheap. What can I do with this? Can I do something with this, even though I don't necessarily want Indiana Jones's dad? Is there something else I can do with it? Is there something else I can make with it? What function can it serve? I never know which way this hat goes on. What function? Probably not that way, huh? That doesn't look right. Try it again. That's a little better. All right. Hold your head up there. All right. I don't know. Okay. When you find them cheap, look at everything that's in the package. Look beyond the fact that it's telling you, here's Dr. Henry Jones Sr. Look and see, does it have a really cool looking weathered suitcase that you could use with another figure, some Kitbash fodder? What could you do with that beautifully weathered old leather bag with its beautifully painted buckles and snaps and handles and all kinds of stuff going on? They cheaped out over here, but up here, man, look at that. They did a nice job. They paid somebody some money to make that look good, and the weathering is all over it. That's how my comic Matt Murdock ended up with a nice messenger bag for going to court with, because that came from one of these characters. It may have come from Hannibal Lecter over here. I'm not sure. I don't care. I saw that messenger bag, and all I thought was, this is a $10 figure with a messenger bag in it that I can give to my civilian Matt Murdock. And I friggin' love how he looks with that messenger bag. So when you see a figure on clearance, what else does it have? Fortnite figures went on clearance from time to time. And I got a bucket of popcorn that looks really realistic, like movie theater bucket of popcorn. I got, what else did I get? I got books and a few of the Fortnite weapons didn't suck. Yes, most of them were oversized and goofy, but some of them were fairly realistic and work well with G.I. Joe Classified or Marvel Legends. Look at the whole package. If you find an action figure, and I've seen action figures on clearance for as low as 99 cents, my friends. At that price point, if there's one thing in the box that you can use, whether it's a piece of clothing or a head sculpt or a weapon or an accessory that just really looks awesome and you can't, even believe that it exists, or, if it's people that you want to have in your collection. I don't care about Henry Jones Jr., but I kind of care about having Sean Connery in my collection. I kind of care about having, Hannibal Lecter in my collection. I kind of care about having, Han Solo in my collection. And I can make it happen through kit bashes or just my imagination. Here's Han Solo on a planet where people wear tuxedos. I don't know. There's some headcanon for you, huh? That's really good. Write that one down. The point is, when you find these figures on clearance, really look at what's in there. Really ask yourself, is there anything in here that I could use for something else, something I could repurpose? Or is it just really like the Eternals wave from the MCU Marvel Legends? Is it really just, this is a bunch of disappointing figures from a movie I never saw or didn't really like if I did see it? When I saw it, I didn't like it. It didn't do anything for me. Yeah, I wanted Jack Kirby's Eternals, not whatever that was. Kevin Feige's Eternals, I don't know. I don't even know who directed it. It's such a bad movie that, history has forgotten who directed it. The Eternals. Oh my God. Was it the Eternals? It was the Eternals, right? Yeah. Sometimes I mix them up with the other guys. Who are the other guys? The Eternals and the, oh, yeah. I'm very sleepy. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I could have done this in 3 minutes probably, but the advice is, after 20 minutes and 45 seconds, the advice is this: when you find them on clearance, really, really give them a good look. Is there anything you can use on another figure to make a nice Kitbash that's going to give you a figure that makes you happier than it was originally out of the box, the way that it was? Because it's really, I paid full price for this Secret Wars Captain America, and he didn't come with a shield. The only shield he came with was the broken shield. Now, I did have this crappy vinyl shield that came with that World War II Captain America, and I think a couple others very early Hasbro Captain Americas. Look how cheap and crappy it is. It's so crappy. It's crappy. I just found it in a fodder bin. I'm thinking about giving it to somebody. I don't know who. Like if I was going to make a Maestro Kitbash with one of my Hulks, I'd probably use that as his shoulder pauldron, because the Maestro had a Captain America shield on his shoulder, or at least a piece of one. But yeah, the Secret Wars cap, he didn't come with a shield, but the Bucky cap that I bought at Ollie's for $10 did. And, guess where this shield came from? So now this Captain America, as of today, as I was going through my little shield bin, because I do actually have a bin full of Captain America shields. It's a very small bin. Not that big. I can't even fit my whole hand in there, but it's big enough that it holds like a dozen Captain America shields, and mostly at the moment just the Secret Wars shields, because they are pretty, well, again, one moment in time, right? Maybe a little more than one moment, because Cap did run around with a broken shield for a little bit during Secret Wars, but, for that $10, I got this shield, and, Bucky Cap came with other parts that I have also repurposed. I did keep one Bucky Cap, good. Good. Is that even the word that it's gooder? No. I did keep one Bucky Cap complete with all his original accessories in my display, because I do like the character of Bucky Barnes as Captain America for that brief run that he had there. It's pretty cool, and I like it. But you got to look at the box, look at everything in the box. Ignore, my friends, your disinterest or distaste for the intellectual property that the figures come from, or for the character that the figures come from, or even what the figure looks like. Again, if there's good accessories in there, there's good accessories. I bought one of those, what was his name? Dead, something shot. Was it Dead Shot? The Vin Diesel movie that came out a few years ago. It's not Dead Shot, but it's something like that. I don't remember. But anyway, he came with two really, really cool, very large 1911 Desert Eagles. And I gave those to Bush. What the hell was his name? Bushwhacker. The guy that came in the Punisher 2-pack with the black suited Punisher early last year. Yeah, those, and they're silver, and they've got nice dry brushing on them. Those are hella good looking accessories. And oh God, Dead Shot. Vin Diesel comic book movie where he's a bald guy. That's all I can tell you. It was a McFarlane Toys figure, and it was from the movie, and the figure looked like Vin Diesel and had shit articulation, and I got rid of it almost immediately. But I only wanted those 1911 Desert Eagles, and they were a thing of beauty. I think they're the nicest ones I've got in my collection, and I do buy as many of those as I can find. Valverse Action Force made a couple of really nice ones. They're 1911 Desert Eagles, and who else? Oh, well, movie Deadpool, the Marvel Legends movie Deadpool, he comes with them, but they're kind of dinky and very flimsy. And the trigger guard breaks easily, especially the first release of that movie Deadpool. You had to actually heat up the figure and kind of, because the guns were glued into the holsters and you had to wriggle them out. I got lucky. I got both of mine out undamaged, but a lot of people damaged those Desert Eagles trying to get them out of that initial Marvel Legends movie Deadpool. Boy, so many digressions. Take a drink every time there's a digression, everybody. So again, to reiterate, if you're looking for stuff for your collection that is fun, that is a little off the beaten path, look at the clearance stuff, look in the clearance aisle, go to the clearance stores like Ross and like Ollie's and any others that may be in your purview. That's a good word, purview. Yeah, they're in your purview. Any other venues that may be in your purview. How about that? And just look at the discount figures. Look what's in the package. I mean, you want to make sure they're going to be in scale with your stuff, like my popcorn bucket was, like this satchel is. I can give that satchel to anybody. I can give it to Professor X or Luke Cage or the Scarlet Spider or the Black Widow. It's more of a suitcase than a satchel, though, isn't it? Yes, yes, it is. It's a suitcase. It's an old, weathered suitcase, just like me. I'm old and I'm weathered. And I'm full of dirty laundry. Yes, full of dirty laundry, just like a suitcase. We're trying to complete the metaphor, folks. That's all I'm trying to do, complete the metaphor. It's my job. My job is metaphors and similes and, yeah. So anyway, that's basically how I ended up with these three figures that I don't care all that much about, but they all had something that I wanted. A Harrison Ford head, a Mads Mikkelsen head that looks like Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, baby. Certainly the second best Hannibal Lecter, if not the first, but I don't have an Anthony Hopkins figure yet, and the NECA Hannibal Lecter figures are basically statues and kind of suck, unfortunately. But I also got a Sean Connery head here that can be, the Lion in Winter, the elderly James Bond. Just waiting for the right suited body to come along, or maybe it's even this suited body. Who knows? All depends on the context, and that's what kit bashing, and that's what having an expansive imagination-based action figure collection is all about. Is making use of what you have, but also keeping an eye out for things you didn't know you needed. Keeping an eye out for things you didn't know you needed. That's what I meant to say. Yes. So that's it. That's my my advice to action figure collectors who are thinking about doing kit bashing. Check out those clearance aisles and check out those clearance stores and see what's in the box. What's in the box that you can use? And, you can always probably use other stuff that's in the box for future fodder for other figures or for building another character. The sky's the limit, and it's only going to cost you maybe $9.99 plus tax. So go out there, take a chance, and let me know. Let me know if you come up with something good. I'd love to hear your recipe. I'm all about the Kit Bash recipes and sharing them and learning from them and stealing them. You betcha. You bet your bippy. You bet your sweet bippy. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure your bippy is very sweet. All right. 28 minutes of this nonsense. That's enough. Thanks for joining me for this Advice to Collectors edition of Action Figure Obsession, I think it's called, here on the Avian and Loaded channel on YouTube. Got it all right. Got it all in one. If you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you hate it, give it a thumbs down. Feel free to leave a comment. What's your best Kit Bash recipe? I'd love to know. I'd love to try it if it's something that I'm interested in expanding my collection with. Or do you hate my ideas? Do you sit there and go, why does he spout such nonsense? And why can't I stop watching it? I don't know why. Maybe because he's so hilariously funny. Yeah, maybe. And share the video with anybody you know who's into action figure collecting or kit bashing or customizing or just likes toys. That's me. I'm just a simple man who enjoys his toys. And I'm trying to share the love with you, my friends. All of my nearly 200 survivors, some people call them subscribers. If I could change one word that YouTube puts on the on my account information, it would say 200 survivors, not subscribers. But I do appreciate all my subscribers. Thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next presidential edition. There he is, the president of Red Hulk. President Thaddeus Ross is a young man, no idea what's coming up, what he's going to do, the horrors that he's going to unleash. Yeah. I'll catch you on the next edition of Action Figure. I'm trying to get him to look directly at you, but the shadows really messing with me. And then he's looking up too, so just all right. He's rolling his eyes at you, I guess. I'll see you on the next Action Figure Obsession. Thanks for stopping by, everybody.